Hello, have you ever had a difficult discussion with somebody, having to have, talking about something that's maybe very personal or very difficult to say the honest truth, but you kind of have to, right? Of course, this has happened to you. It happens to everybody. Sometimes you have to be honest with somebody and tell your true feelings, or talk about some problem. We can't always have happy conversations. Sometimes they have to be difficult conversations. Well, I'm going to give you 8 points that might help if you have to have a difficult discussion. Wow. Now, of course, this is probably true in Japanese or in English. But, of course, I'm giving the advice in English, but, I think it would work for any kind of situation. See if you agree. Okay, I've got 8 points. Number 1 is prepare. Think about what you're going to say in advance. If you have something difficult to say to somebody, like if you're telling somebody that they don't have a job anymore, or they've got to quit something, or they've got to change what they're doing, it can be very difficult. So prepare what you're going to say in advance. Think through, at least in your head, what you're going to say. Especially true if you're using English, so that you know the vocabulary ready to go. Number 2 is cultivate positivity. Cultivate means grow. Positivity, being positive, being cheerful, happy. Well, so actually it means, going into the conversation and you think that there will be a positive outcome, that something good will happen after this difficult conversation. You have to think about that. Then maybe something good will happen. Number 3, find time and space, a good time to talk about something difficult and a good place to do it. Think about this beforehand. You don't want to have a difficult discussion on a train where it's noisy and they can't hear you, or I don't know. Have to think about it. Number 4 is make a time limit. If you know that you've got 30 minutes to talk about whatever this problem is, then both of you the 2 people talking can get to the point and get it finished and get it over, and then the difficult time is finished. If it drags on and on and on and on, and you're there all night, that's probably not helpful. Number 5 is agree on the terms of the conversation. So, for example, you might agree, okay, now in this conversation, we're not going to look at our telephones. We're not going to shout at each other. We're not going to use bad language. Okay. If you both agree, and then so you know the agreement. If somebody starts getting angry and shouting, say, hey, we said we're not going to start shouting. Oh, difficult, huh? Number 6 is a common one. Listen. Actually, once you've said what you need to say, spend the time listening to what the other person says. This is your secret weapon. Number 7 is related to that. Know that you could be wrong. You might be wrong. It's hard to believe, but if you go into the conversation thinking you are 100% correct, it's probably not healthy. Better to think that you might be wrong, and then you're ready to listen. Number 8, end the conversation gracefully, delicately, nicely. Maybe have a summary of the discussion and your main points that were said on both sides. And hopefully finish with something pleasant, if possible. Okay, those are 8 points for dealing with difficult conversations. Okay, I've got 3 questions. The first one is, which of these 8 methods do you think is the most useful? Number 2, what topics are hardest for you to talk about? Wow. And number 3, have you had any difficult discussions in your life? What would you do differently now if you had that discussion again? Very difficult to talk about or to think about, isn't it? But often they can be very personal or business related. What do you think? What difficult discussions have you had in your life? Okay, we'll have a little chat about this when I see you next. I hope these points are useful to you. That's the whole point, to get useful English and useful ways of thinking about conversation. Okay, have a good one. and I will see you next time. Thank you.